Okay, so I just took some close-up images of what is group stalking. If you can see the green gate, you saw a third party. She's opening that gate. That's a means of light activity, first of all. Second of all, this the van that you see, the gray van, and you see it an over white, looks like a Caucasian female with a blue teal shirt on. She's walking with her back toward the camera. While I'm walking out of my office, you're looking at engineered light. That's literally, it's impossible that it's down here. This is below elevation, the same elevation. This is covered. The building is high. The entity maintains the light source, but you have what's lights covering all of them. In addition, this demon that's closing this white fence right here, her vehicle is a means of light activity while she's pulling up and reversing in the same direction that I'm walking. Engineer light was moving across that green gate. Just like you saw waste management do the same thing. Just like you saw the demons that are, you can see it right there. That's P.O.C. That's group stalking. Remember, the entity, yeah, there you go. I'm glad that they tell on themselves. Everybody's going to be prosecuted. UPS is over here doing the same thing on the opposite street. On the opposite street, on the next street up, UPS is crossing path. These are demons that are pacing, and this is what they're doing. Again, when I'm in my apartment, the entity is keeping light on my ceiling, stalking in the path with light. Okay, stalking in the path while they're putting light in my bedroom while I'm naked, while I'm in the shower, while I'm using the restroom, while I am walking around in my apartment, and you're looking at that light that reaches into the depths. This is the same hillside where the sun was supposedly rising. Let me be clear, that engineer light that you saw moving across those gates, that's the evidence that I'm going to use against all of them when they're prosecuted for group stalking. And that's criminal surveillance with the entity that's flying over them all the time while they're flying over my apartment. They're monitoring with the state that stalks in helicopter. Everybody that lives at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. Now that's 59 units, the federal government, with regard to what it determines to be justice. I'm satisfied that everybody here living in the immediate vicinity of the target individual, federal prison, period. Mandatory. But I want to be clear, this impunity that you're looking at, these are demons over here. You see what they do. You see what Ryder does coming onto the ground. Same conduct that Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal engages in. Same conduct that the entity engages in while they are driving by, living at the residence, living at the venue. The ons of 1818 number 4, driving a vehicle and light moving across building 1800. Okay, impossible light activity. That's exactly what you saw down there. That's what links the entity together. Group stalking is identified through the environment. Okay, UPS, just like you saw yesterday under the light source after 6 p.m. UPS again stalking in the path. This isn't a coincidence. An engineered light and under a light source that's rising and setting at the same address. Okay, and they're also again aware of the fact that I named them. This demon goes out of its way to be in the path, just like you saw in video yesterday. UPS is acting in concert. This is nothing other than a demon. That's the same entity that is group stalking, pacing all around on the streets, while engineered light is scraping all across the venue. And that's very, let me be clear, that's a hovering light activity. I want you to pay attention. First of all, this is the light source. The entity is aiming light into my bedroom as though the light source is in alignment. While I'm inside of my bedroom, building 1818 is in alignment with my apartment. The entity is keeping the light source here because this is where I'm standing. UPS is here because this is where I'm standing. That's what group stalking is. UPS is a demon that stops at another demon's house in order to engage in what is maintenance in the path with knowledge of the fact that I specifically identified that demon. That's what's actually going on. In addition, you have what are demons that were driving over here, and that engineer light was swiping all across that venue. That's the same light activity that when I documented in the video and you saw waste management. You have, again, another random demon, because that's a demon. That's what that is. That engineer light, which is impossible light activity, is occurring while they're not coincidentally reversing their vehicle in the same direction that I'm walking. While I'm walking in this direction, this demon is in my path, reversing the vehicle, and engineer light is moving across that gate. And then you see them engage in that conduct as I speak to it in real time. The Camry that crossed path after that van drove by, engineer light across that gate. That is what ties all of them together, them being the people of the state. They are going to be prosecuted. Let me be clear, everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is the ongoing corroborating evidence against every single last person that I have documented, and that shall be identified by mere placement in the path. You live in the path, you're going to be prosecuted as a group stalker, and you have what is, again, that impossible behavior, that impossible pattern amongst those that are supposedly strangers. Okay, the entity repeating that, and that is 1826. That's the address of that venue right there. That's, let me see, let me zoom in. Yeah, that's 1826. The entity likes to use that right there. That's in alignment. Demons drive by and engineer light swipes all across there. That's exactly what they're doing. And this is what they do with hysteria. Okay. These are demons at 4:05 when I was capturing that video, and LAPD flew over by helicopter and the light source went right over here back to this same size of building 1810 to be over me. These demons, these streets, and that's what they do. They drag directed light is dragging all around. They're demons that are psychopaths, okay? And they start freaking out because they're listening to me identify them and they're listening to me prosecute them, but they're still engaging in this psychotic conduct, being all in the path, doing just like this with engineered light. This is what demons do. They're stalking and they're monitoring, okay? I want to be clear. That is capturing, again, any random, okay? There's nothing random about it. There's nothing random in the specific environment. In addition, I want you to pay attention. This is lower elevation, but yet you're looking at what's supposedly the engineer light. And how is that happening? So the light source is here. It's in alignment with building 1818 as I go back into my apartment. But right here, you're looking at what has nothing to do with the light source. This is just covering all of the grounds at a lower elevation, touching all over their property. It actually has nothing to do with the light source. And it's also impossible that it would be here because, first of all, the light source is engaging in what is present for over 11 hours. This wouldn't even be here. Okay, based on the entity's illusion. Oh, that's the sun and this is sunlight. Okay, well, the sun would be in constant movement. So this is speaking to what's not possibly the sun. It remains here all day and the engineered light remains here all day, but it's also remaining here all day. And this is supposedly the stream of light. And then it's somehow over here where it's elevated below. This is below elevation where we're at. This building is higher. The light source is speaking to what is aiming through my apartment, through the bedroom window, onto my apartment, my bedroom wall. That's the magnified light that's in there. And they're all monitoring me inside of my bedroom. And this is also the presence of what is engineered light while the light source is remaining over me, by the way, at the in the city of Fontana, which is what I'm going to remind you of. The documentation of the Fontana Police Department, stalking, monitoring as I am leaving the Fontana Lewis Library on April 9, 2022. Which is also ongoing corroborating evidence against the people of the state who are group stalking as I'm documenting them. These are violent sex offenders and they live with children. They live with the people of the state are engaging in ongoing corporate invasion of privacy of a targeted individual that lives in the neighborhood, and they're engaging in group stalking. All right. And this is criminal surveillance while the entity is cooperatively acting, engaging in what is surveillance with the LAPD, who is obsessively stalking in concert with them. You are indeed stalking in relevant position, living at a facilitating venue in the specific environment. They are in the shoes of the government. They have no constitutional protection whatsoever. And you are also looking at the evidence of it while third-party group stalkers, that's speaking to what is, understand the federal government that's listening, that's witnessing, as they engage in that conduct, engaging in what is the phenomenon through any randomness. There is no randomness. There is no over breath with regard to this application of federal policy. It literally is every single last one of them. And that's why I can aim my camera down and you have the next vehicle doing the exact same thing. I want to be clear, engineer light swiping across the surface. All right. It literally is every single last one of them. And you know that conclusively. This is where the sun was rising and the sun is still here. And this is supposedly sunlight coming from that sun, which also in and of itself, logically speaking, is impossible. Okay, it's just appearing all over. So I guess the sun is above it and it's piercing through the apartments onto my bedroom wall and also over and downward onto all of their properties after rising at this same location. That's what the entity is doing. And apparently while they're down there, sunlight is creating like a ricochet effect and it's swiping across while they are driving along the driver's side of hitting 1826. I'm going to get that street. I'm going to publish them. They're going to federal prison. The entity is engaged in ongoing systematic maintenance of the environment through that venue. And they in particular engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, as I specifically documented, waste management engaging in the pattern of conduct. You've got the people of the state that are systematically engaging in what is swiping past. That's terrorism, as I've witnessed it on more than one occasion. And this one right here at 1826, they're going to federal prison. I'm going to document them. I've just documented them right now. I'm going to publish that address is what I'm going to do specifically. It is currently 5:16 p.m. This is P.O.C. I want you to see the light source again. What they just engaged in, remember, they're acting on behalf of an entity under a light source that's rising right here at this hillside, and here it is still right here. And the entity is suggesting that this is all sunlight and that the sun is still here 10 hours later. Okay, that's the P.O.C. All 59 units are living literally at the property, engaged in 24-hour devotion to criminal surveillance in concert with demons that are surrounding in the specific environment, right? They're going to be prosecuted, but everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. All right. I want to be clear. It is 5:17 p.m. And this is P.O.C. That's all engineered light that's touching on the side. That's appearing the shadow of trees. The shadow of the trees is speaking to the trajectory of light. The sun is supposedly above us, but you have what is speaking to laser light conic horizontally aimed light as opposed to light that is going at a downward trajectory. These are the details that you're paying attention to. The purpose is to touch surfaces with this engineered light. And it's also impossible because the actual sun would not be anywhere near this venue. The entity's illusion is also speaking to what is also admittedly the unnatural environment, because the sun would not be here, and so that light would not be here. The entity is engaging in the illusion that that's the sun and that that's sunlight. So if the sun didn't remain for 10, 11 hours in the day, then that light wouldn't be there. That's the P.O.C. All right, it is currently 5:18 p.m. I want to be clear, what is the tactic right now? A demon-possessed population that's creating noise using music as a means of amplified audible activity, while it's also aware of the fact that it's being documented. You're listening to audible activity, relevant positioning is what you're witnessing, and the engineered light. While the light source is still present, this is the same people. These are the people of the state that are being documented in the morning while the sun is right here rising. Okay, while 1826 is the surface whereby the people of the state like to cross path with engineered light, that music is audible activity. And you're witnessing, again, impunity. This is interchangeable with what is helicopter activity, interchangeable with what was in the previous video at 4:05, while the light source was over building 1810 still. The entity was using what that third-party group stock over there was a saw. Sounds something reminiscent of the sound of a saw. Music is that same use of what is noise and engineered light. And it's capturing what is impunity, while they are all, again, speaking to, listening to what I'm saying, knowing exactly where I am and what I'm doing, tracking my steps literally as I'm walking to my office, a demon crossing path at 1826, an engineered light swiping all across that gate. That is speaking to the sex offender and the obsessed stalker. All right, this is P.O.C. It's 5:19 p.m. You're talking about what's going to be a massive prosecution from the top all the way back down there. All the way as far as you can see, as far as that light reaches, and everybody here is going to federal prison. This is P.O.C.